What's going on, guys? It's your boy Chris here. I wasn't I late doing this video. I was watching the Ravens game. The less said about that, the better. Um, so there's a lot in wrestling to talk about that's been going on the past couple of days. The biggest thing that's been going on is the situation with Vince McMahon and his exit from WWE. Well, drop my phone. So we all know what happened. Article came out of the Wall Street Journal on Thursday where a civil lawsuit came out that he was named in, along with John Laurinaitis, involving some very, very, there's no other way to say it, disgusting behavior and stuff like that. It's not good. I read the full lawsuit, and with every page I was just like, it's getting worse. How is this possibly getting worse? And so that all happened. After that, you had Friday. Vince, it was announced late Friday night, uh, shortly after, like, Slim Jim announced they were kind of cutting ties with WWE, that Vince was leaving WWE and his board or executive role, and that was pretty much it. Vince is gone. He gone. He ain't there anymore. Um, that was the end of that, pretty much. Other than his legal issues that are can happen with this lawsuit, there's not really much else to say on WWE's part. He's gone. The Rumble happened last night. As a note, I was on with the Bayou Geeks. We did a watch along. I did a watch along with them. Good, like 4 hour episode. So if you want, check that out. I'll post a link down in the comments so you can see that. We got into it a little bit about that, but we were mostly watching the Rumble, just talking and shooting the shit, as we tend to do on that show, or when I'm on that show. So thank you to Fatty, Maximus G, and Dirk for having me on. Always fun to come on with those guys, and anytime I'm up, anytime I'm available, I will always be there for those guys. My own thoughts on Vince are pretty much this. Do I know if the allegations are true? No. No. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there to digest. Like, a lot of stuff to digest with these allegations. There are text messages, and that kind of is your proof that if he wasn't doing anything with this girl, he was on some next level shit. Um, the one in particular is the one, like, involving, like, the three black dudes. It especially was kind of like, this is bad. This is really bad. There is involvement of, like, certain things happening with um it's just bad, and Vince needed to go. He needed to go before, and I thought that when he was first gone or retired before, that was going to be the end of him. Then clearly it wasn't, and he came back and shit went down again, or and all this. And the kicker is, he agreed to pay this girl whatever money that he offered, agreed to pay her as part of the settlement he made with her, so that this wouldn't come out. And had he simply kept his end of the deal and paid her the remaining two Megan of the three he agreed to pay her, we would have never heard any of this. We'd have heard nothing about it because there was an NDA in place. She'd signed it. She'd agreed to it. He'd agreed to pay her $3 million. He paid her $1 million, and he just decided not to pay the other two because, like, I guess he thought he was above the law. I don't know what his thought process was, but point of order, if you agree to pay somebody $3 million and they sign an NDA so they don't put you in court for some like illegal shit, it's always smart to pay the fucking person the money you agreed to pay him. To not do it is asking for trouble. He fucked around and he is now finding out. And so is John Laurinaitis, and he needs to not be allowed to get out of jail free on this either, because he's part of this and did some awful shit too. So it's not just Vince; it's John Laurinaitis. Um, I'm of the stance: anybody that's found to have been involved in the shit that he was doing, anyone that he allegedly showed like stuff to involving this girl, if they knew about it and didn't do anything, they need to go. I don't care who the fuck it is. I don't care if it's anybody. Anybody who was in Vince's inner circle needs to be ousted from the company in any way, shape, or form. That means Bruce Pritchard got to go. Not because he's one of Vince's people. Bruce Pritchard, he can go. Michael Hayes is one of Vince's guys. He can go. Anyone who was like down with Vince or in Vince's inner circle needs to be booted from the company. Period. They gotta go. Doesn't matter who it is. That's my personal opinion, because as long as they're there, Vince's shadow is still looming in the background. So they gotta go. Obviously, last night the Rumble took place. So I want to talk about that for a second. Jump into that. Women's Rumble was probably the highlight of the show for me. Um, the Women's Rumble was really good. There were some good moments. There were some funny moments. R-Truth coming out when Valhalla was coming out was like fucking hilarious. Um, oh, Maxine Dupree doing a head scissors had me and me, uh, G and Dirk crying laughing in the live stream last night, because it was the worst head scissors that any of us probably ever seen in our lives. Like, this shit was 2 miles an hour, if not slower. And she did it twice, and it was bad both times. It's like, how do you do this that bad twice? It's like sometimes someone may have like some potential to be a wrestler, but they maybe shouldn't be a wrestler and should just be a valet. Maxine Dupree is one of those people, because she is awful in the ring. Biggest surprise of the night happened in the Women's Rumble as well, because Jordan Grace, the TNA Knockout Champion, appeared in the Rumble. Did not see that coming. And for real, she showed up and showed out. Like, credit to her. She looked really good out there. She belonged in a WWE ring. So credit to her. She looked good out there. She put on a fucking show. I was impressed. And I'm not the biggest Jordan Grace fan, but she went out there and she did the damn thing. Naomi came back. Was good to see her come back and get the reaction she got from the crowd. Clearly, she got emotional and was not expecting the crowd to cheer her like that. Jade Cargill debuted in her first WWE match. Powered up Nia Jax and threw her out of the Rumble. Like, she got made last night in one night. Bayley won the Rumble. I was happy to see that. Bayley is one of the 4 horsewomen that doesn't get her due as far as how good she is at what she does. It's usually Becky and Charlotte and Sasha get all the love, or sorry, Mercedes Moné get all the love, and she kind of gets forgotten about. But she shows up and does her thing, and she's good at it. Where she's a babyface or a heel, she's good in the ring and always has been. She may be the best worker out of all of them, to be blunt. And she's finally getting her flowers, and that's a good thing. Um, if she goes against Rhea Ripley, that's going to be a damn good match at WrestleMania. Next matchup was the four-way for the Universal title between Roman Reigns, LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton. Did not see that match being the second match on the card. Was kind of shocked by that, but that was just a weird place to put that. I figured it'd be before the men's rumble, but I guess they want to set in place Heyman and Roman being in the skybox chilling and just watching the events unfold for the main event. So I guess that's why they did that the way they did it. Roman, to the shock of no one, retained the title. His matches are getting stale as shit. It's always some interference by Solo or one of the bloodline. It's getting old. It's got to end real quick. Hopefully, at WrestleMania, that will end and all that. Not because I dislike Roman, but it's becoming like Cena wins LOL levels of like stagnant. So there's that. Next up was the Kevin Owens and Logan Paul match for the IC, or was it the US? It was US title, the US title, and for the first time ever, a referee actually did some shit that was amazing in a match. I think his name was Ryan Tran was the referee. I believe his name is. Need to say it was a good match. Bunch of outside shenanigans to help Logan Paul retain. Kevin Owens hit Logan Paul with the brass knuckles that where they tried to give to Logan Paul. The referee saw him on the pin when Owens was had him rolled up for the pin because he didn't take him off and put him in his trunks. That Kevin Owens fucking up. Ryan Tran saw him, immediately called for the DQ. Logan Paul retains via DQ. Smart reffing, love to see it. Next up, the men's rumble. There were no surprises in this rumble. There were some weird choices for who was going to be in the rumble. Pat McAfee being in there, there was a wasted spot. R-Truth, usual, funny as hell. Jumping up and doing a tag, calling for like Dominic Mysterio to tag him, despite it being the Rumble and he should have just gotten the ring. Him throwing JD in and immediately JD gets booted out. And then Truth gets in and Damian Priest immediately gets rid of him because he's sick of his shit. Obviously, the final two, it came down to CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Everybody was into that. Everybody was waiting for it. Cody wins. He's going to WrestleMania. He already called this shot. He's going for Roman Reigns to finish the story. And if they don't pull the trigger on this shit and end Roman Reigns' run and give Cody the belt, there are going to be riots at that show. Next story that came out after the show was the events of the media press conference after the show. Now, I don't know what the fuck y'all were expecting Hunter to say, but we need to address the elephant in the room. Yes, the questions were going to be asked of him. He's Vince's son-in-law. Okay? We all knew you were going to ask about it, but unlike Tony Khan in AEW addressing the Chris Jericho allegations, Hunter is not a CEO or the owner of WWE. He is a booker and he's an employee of WWE. The higher ups in WWE have probably told him before he went out there, don't mention Vince. If it comes up, don't fucking talk about it. It's an ongoing legal issue. He can't talk about it anyway. And on top of that, it's his fucking father-in-law. His answers were not great, but what y'all expecting him to say? Like, he's not gonna throw his father-in-law under the bus. He's not gonna say, fuck my father-in-law. He's a piece of shit. He's not gonna say that. Everybody probably wishes he would say that, but he's not gonna say that. It's just not gonna happen because, he's married to the guy's daughter and stuff like that. But like, if my father-in-law did some fucked up shit and somebody asked me about it, I'm not gonna trash my father-in-law. I wasn't there when he did it. Like, it'd be like my wife trashing my mom. Like, it wouldn't be a thing. Like, it just wouldn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're expecting him to answer shit that he really can't answer to. Go to Vince, like, pull up Vince at his house and ask him what the fuck he was thinking. Go to Nick Khan or Ari Emanuel, who were above Triple H, and ask them that shit. Triple H is only going to deal with the wrestling side of things because that's his fucking job. If he's been given the orders from the people above him to not address it, he's not going to address it, because if he does, he's going to get in trouble with his bosses. Now, I'm sure he has his own feelings about it. He's not going to give that to us, nor does he have to. He doesn't owe us his insight into his personal feelings about personal family shit that's going on in his family's life. He didn't have to answer that to anybody. But, I mean, like, his answers weren't great. Him saying he hadn't even read the lawsuit, I don't believe that for a second. I think he just said that just to put it out there to kind of deflect, which, okay, that's fine. He's not supposed to be addressing it. So when you ask, like, have you read the lawsuit? No. Next question. All right. I'm sure he has read the Wall Street Journal. He seems like a very learned person. You know what I'm saying? And the whole fucking lawsuit's out there online. You can read it for yourself. I'm sure he's read it. I'm sure he knows what the fuck's going on as far as the lawsuit itself. But again, he's been told by the people above him not to deal with it. So he's not going to do that. So, for all of y'all who are mad at Hunter about that, you have the right to be upset. Okay, you can be upset at him for it, but you're getting upset at him for shit that's out of his control. Now, if you catch him and the cameras aren't on him or something, and he's not at a press conference, he may say, yeah, that's some nasty shit. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. But he's not going to answer it on camera to anybody. Like, he's not going to do that. So, you're free to criticize him for his answers. You're free to criticize him for it, but you have to look at it from the perspective of the position he's in. It's not the same as Tony Khan, okay? Again, Tony Khan is the guy that runs the show in AEW. If he's getting asked about allegations about one of his wrestlers possibly be involved in a compromised position with a woman that they released immediately after this incident happened, and there's an NDA signed or something like that, and he's sitting at a press conference answering it while wearing a babushka and some fucking sunglasses one of his wrestlers gave him to do some fucking media scrum, like, that's a different fucking situation because the buck stops with him. In WWE, that's not the case. Hunter answers to other people. Whether you like it or not, that's the way that is. So, those are my thoughts on the media scrum. It wasn't the best, and he didn't give the best answers, even for, like, the stock answer he could have given. But he probably he probably figured, like, I can't get into it. They know I can't get into it. So they're probably not going to ask. And then we asked, he was taken off guard by it. But, People are all up his ass about it and all mad about him. But again, my question is, what the fuck did you expect him to say? What were you expecting him to say? Like, if you have an idea of what you expect him to say, please comment in the comments. I'd love to hear what you expected him to say versus what he said. If you're expecting him to address, like, vent the allegations, he couldn't. If you're expecting him to trash his father-in-law, he wasn't going to. But again, I'll humor any comments in the comments about this, about what you expected him to say versus what he said, because they're two different. And don't compare him to Tony Khan, because they're two completely different scenarios, two completely different situations. One guy is working in a position with the wrestling content, is the content guy. The other guy owns the fucking show and runs the shit. So there's a different scenario there between the two parties you have to look at. And if you don't understand that, I'm sorry that you don't get that, but that's the reality that we live in. Tony Khan, as the owner and CEO of AEW, owes answers to questions that are serious allegations about his talent and their behavior. Okay? He does. And he should answer them. Especially when it's one of his top guys. He should absolutely have addressed all the stuff with CM Punk when that was going on. He should have addressed the Jericho scenario. Because the buck stops with him. Period. Paul Levesque is in a different situation where he works under people. And it's those people that have to answer for Vince. And what they knew and when they knew it and all that stuff. They have to answer for the Vince stuff. Nick Khan should be answering questions about Vince. Ari Emanuel should be answering questions about Vince. Not the guy who books the wrestling show. And that's regardless of his relationship to the guy who's involved in the allegations. So, that's my thoughts on all of this. Again, I'm going to hop off here. That's all I've got for this one. I'm not going to make a bunch of jokes about a bunch of shit because none of that shit's funny at all. It's just not. It's not funny. Like, what happened to this girl is not funny. It's terrible. And another thing while I'm on this. People, I need you to not make it about yourselves in all of this. It's ultimately not about me. It's not about you. It's ultimately about that girl and the shit that she apparently went through based on this lawsuit. Like, she's the potential victim in all of this. And whether you want to defend Vince or whatever, you want to believe Vince is innocent, Vince has a track record of doing shitty shit or shitty things. And it's known. Okay? So the idea that he may be innocent, he's offered that innocence of proven guilty, yes. But at the same time, believe the victim. At least until we know for sure that shit's not true. But right now, it's about her and what she went through. It's not about all the other outside bullshit. It's not a WWE versus AEW thing. It's not. That's dumb shit that has nothing to do with it. And if you're doing this to fuel some sort of anti-WWE or AEW versus WWE stuff, you're a sick motherfucker and need to get help. Because it's not about that. I brought up Tony Khan as a comparison of the position that Paul Levesque is in versus Tony Khan. And that's it. But it's about what the hell happened to that girl at the hands of McMahon and Laurinaitis. It has nothing to do with anybody else chiming in, anybody else. And that needs to be remembered. It's about the victim right now. It's not about gaining points or any of that other shit. It's not about that. It's about her and her getting whatever form of justice she can get for whatever she went through once all the dust is settled. So that's all I've got for this video. I'm gonna hop off here and get on this other football game. Uh, Congrats to the Chiefs. Y'all came into the bank, punched my Ravens in the mouth, and they didn't respond. So you're going to the Super Bowl, and you earned it. Best of luck in the big game. Period. That's all I need to say about that. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Peace.